Okay, so officially welcome Sue and Sally to the Zoom room for this afternoon session. So I'm just going to take you straight into a meditation on it. So making yourself on today's lesson, so making yourself comfortable, just sitting your feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep, long, slow breath in through the nose. Breathing in, notice how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle. It's the root lock in yoga. It's the muscle we use to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. To lock the energy in. And draw the energy up the spine into your heart center. One hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space. And draw the energy all the way up into the crown of your head. So pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind. Start with this review of what your mission is today. I will accept atonement for myself. If I remain as God created me, or as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended me. Just breathe in this presence. So acceptance and acknowledgement of what's already there. Breathe it in, feel the power of this presence in the present moment. Filling yourself up completely with air. Breath is just a way of bringing awareness, spacious awareness into your mind. Feel like your mind is opening up, it's empty, calm, spacious awareness coming in. This is what the at-one-ment feels like. Open, spacious awareness. No dysfunctional thoughts, no limiting thoughts and emotions. And if any of that shows up, you notice any kind of contraction, limitation in your mind, in your energy field, just breathe into that. Imagine, if it helps you, that you're breathing light in, beautiful golden or white light, flowing into your mind, to your body, any body pain or contraction or tension, just breathe into that as well. That's just symptomatic of the mind's dis-ease. And so you're just inviting the at-one-ment, so the acceptance of the truth of oneness, who you really are. Not sometime in the past or future, but right now. So you embrace it with the breath. Just breathe it all in. Embrace it. There's no resistance. If there's any resistance to the truth of your eternal oneness with God, your source, creator, and with everything that it created, everything it extended. That's all people, all living creatures have this life essence. Any resistance to the idea that you are one with that essence, and therefore one in essence with all people and all living creatures. You release that now out of your energy. Just let it go with the help of your breath. Exhale, blow it all away. the breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest here in the peace and the stillness for a few moments, sinking into this state of at-one-ment with your source and with all the extensions of your source, all of your brothers, your companions, all people, all life as we know it on this planet is part of this at-one-ment. Osho says, we have not lost the knowledge that God gave to us, that this pure formless awareness of perfect love gave to us when it extended us like itself. We can remember this knowledge now. We can remember it for everyone. For in beingness of all minds as one, and our memory is the recall how dear our companions are to us, how much a part of us is every mind, how faithful they've really been to us, and how our perfect love contains them all. Just contemplate these ideas, feel into the totality of this oneness. It's infinite, eternal, expansive. Can't help feeling expanded in your mind. So just sink into that, surrender to the experience. There's nowhere else to go. Nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, and be still. Be still and know that you are God. You are as God, love, pure formless awareness created you, extended you. And there is nothing else. This is the truth of who you are. This is the truth of who everyone is. Breathe that in, with a deep breath in, inhaling the essence of this truth into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is resonating with this great truth you've denied, but which wants to be known again by you, which has been calling to you for all time, through all time. Just waiting for you to listen, waiting for this day when finally you listened to its voice. You hear its call, the ancient call to return to your ancient home in God, in oneness, to be as one again. Restore your mind to its true identity, to sanity, to peace, to love, to joy. So give yourself over to this experience, total peace, love, and joy. For the next couple of minutes of deep silence, there's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe. Observe the breath flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. Focusing on the breath, you stop the monkey mind from wandering. You just allow this presence of the Atonement, presence of pure formless awareness of perfect love to arise in your awareness. That is your true awareness, the very essence of who you are, this awareness. So go into it for a while, just surrender to it, give yourself over to it for the next couple of minutes of deep contemplative silence, and be at peace for a while. If any thoughts arise to seemingly disturb this deep peace and stillness, just observe them. They have no power to disturb the pure formless awareness of perfect love that extended you. No power at all. So just think of them as cloud patterns, just shifting and changing, but with no substance at all. Cannot really obscure the blue sky. which is symbolic of your pure formless awareness, the light of your source, the sun shining through it all. So exhale, just blow them away. Sense of releasing with the breath. And letting them all go into the nothingness they really are. And you restore your mind to this state of pure formless awareness. Just rest in that state. Another couple of minutes of deep silence. So just gently coming back in this deep connected state into most of the body and the breath and the senses in the world, and let that bring you back on the count of 3 to awareness and to opening your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises, the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. You clench your sphincter muscle. Notice the energy moving up the spine, perhaps. Breathing in, notice the energy rising into your heart center, all the way up into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. So again, scan your mind. Just notice anything going on there. Any thoughts, any emotions, any related body sensations. Remind yourself if there's anything that's at all unpleasant, disturbing, contracted, limited in any way, shape, or form, that you choose atonement, you choose Atonement. Say, I accept Atonement for myself today, for I remain as God or pure formless awareness, perfect love, extended me right now. So blow all that darkness, that limited awareness away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness that it really is. Like clouds just being blown away, cannot really obscure the light of your source. So notice the air flowing out, the chest and the stomach suck back in. The energy subsides back down into the lower stomach and the groin. Noticing the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you feeling with your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose, and notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. Without judgment, without interpretation. There's just awareness, just pure formless awareness underlying all of your sense perceptions. So just feel that. It doesn't matter what your body's ears or eyes or perceive, what you feel, touch, taste, smell. Underlying awareness is exactly the same and it's very peaceful. This is the state of Atonement. The mind is restored to its true awareness. So on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, observe the various objects in the room for 2 or 3 seconds at a time. Notice that if you're not judging it, if you're not thinking about it, it's just underlying it as awareness. And you look at something else and underlying that object is awareness. And it's the same awareness. It underlies all of your perceptions. So you start to learn through these simple mind training exercises that awareness is always there. And that is the truth. And that is what today's lesson is teaching. At Atonement, we are at one with our source, with this pure formless awareness of perfect love that is us. It is our very essence. And in truth, there is nothing else. So I hope the meditation has helped you to connect with that and set you up for our reading and discussion and translation of the lesson, which we'll move into now. So the end of the meditation. So Sue, are you going to stay with us or are you departing?
I could stay for a quarter of an hour.
You can stay for a quarter of an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just do a couple of paragraphs then. So if you want to kick it off with paragraph 1, the key idea, and paragraph 1, and we'll go straight into the no, actually read the original, because you need to get familiar with the translation. So read the original, and then I've already done some translation, so you can then read the translated bit, which is underneath in grey, not in the alternative.
Right, here is the end of choice.
Oh, stop. Forgot the main idea.
I will accept atonement for myself.
Yeah.
I accept atonement for myself. Okay, yeah.
Try saying as the alternative. Try saying atonement.
Atonement. I will accept atonement for myself.
So how does that feel compared with atonement? It gives it a different flavor, doesn't it?
Atonement, atonement. Oh, well, I can say atonement easier because of my nose.
Yeah.
But atonement is a bit of a mouthful. But atonement makes a lot more sense to me than atonement.
The way you say it, the way you pronounce it, gives the meaning. So atonement is the sort of traditional interpretation, Christian interpretation of what it means, which is some kind of expiation, penance for sins. So that's the traditional interpretation. And atonement it is actually completely opposite. Atonement says we're only one, you're one with your source, you're one with everyone, and sin doesn't exist, so there's no need to expiate what doesn't exist. So just the pronunciation gives you a totally different understanding of the meaning. But we'll go into it, because he talks about what atonement means in this. In fact, let's just have a look at. I forgot our quote. So because that's actually very, very relevant to this. So atonement, if you want to read that, atonement is the only defense.
Yeah, atonement is the only defense that cannot be used destructively because it is not a device you made. The at-one-ment principle was in effect long before the at-one-ment began. The principle was love, and the at-one-ment was an act of love.
Okay. What's on that?
That didn't go in at all.
Okay. So let's unpack that a bit, because it's pretty relevant to today's lesson, all about at-one-ment. So what is he really saying there? The first sentence, at-one-ment is the only defense that cannot be used destructively, because it's not a device you made. So he's saying this is not something of your making. It's not something coming from your ego mind, the idea of separation. It's coming from source, from the idea of oneness, must come from oneness, from the very presence, the very essence, pure formless awareness of that oneness. This is where it comes from. So that one-ment is both the acknowledgement of that oneness as true, and it's the process of accepting that as true. It refers both to the end result of the atoned state, the at-one state, as well as to the process. He's saying, the only defense that cannot be used destructively. So other defenses the ego uses destructively, uses us to defend against the truth, to deny the truth. But at-one-ment is a defense of the truth. So it's only truth that cannot be used destructively, because it's not a device you made. So it's coming from spirit, it's coming from remembrance of oneness, to remind us of our true nature. The at-one-ment principle was in effect long before the at-one-ment began. So the very instant that the separation seemed to happen, the at-one-ment principle came into effect. So the Holy Spirit was brought into being as the remembrance of oneness, the moment we decided to separate. See how that works? Let me just show you this diagram, it might make it a bit clearer. So go into the descent into hell. So the very moment we decided to separate, at that moment the at-one-ment principle was born. Do you see? Because now what was required then was a reinterpretation of the separation and a memory of the state of perfect oneness. So that's what he means by the at-one-ment principle came into being long before the atonement began, because the moment that we decided for separation, the at-one-ment principle was there as well as the correction for that idea. And then that's played out in time over billions of years. Apparently we've been doing this for something like 14 billion years. That's how old the universe is, they tell us. So in a very long time at the game of separation. So it's now playing out in time, but the principle's been in effect since the moment we had the idea of separation. The at-one-ment principle came into being. That's what he means.
Okay, that makes sense when you say it.
Okay. And then the second bit, the at-one-ment principle's effect long before the at-one-ment began.
Yeah.
Because it was in effect the moment the separation seemed to happen. The principle was love, and the at-one-ment was an act of love. So the principle is love or oneness. Perfect love or oneness is behind the at-one-ment principle, because it's this truth. It's truth of oneness, truth of perfect love underlies that one-ment principle. It's the memory. That one-ment is the memory of this perfect love, of this pure formless awareness of perfect love. And so at one-ment, he takes it into the world of action, because what's needed if you've separated, if you think you've separated from love, is you need correction. So that implies action in time. So it was an act of love. So the at-one-ment brings this pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is pure beingness, which is not in the domain of action. It brings it into our experience in this world of time and space where action seems to be required. And so this is the way that we correct all of our false perceptions. And we bring our mind systematically and progressively back to the awareness of oneness. So the at-one-ment principle is what's guiding the correction of the mind. The at-one-ment principle is behind all miracles, which are just corrections for the mind to reinterpret the idea of separation in all of its forms and restore our mind back to its original state of pure formless awareness of this perfect love or oneness, which is what this whole course is training us to do. So that one-ment is the process of the correction, and it's also the final state. When you are at one with God, then your mind is healed, it's corrected, there's nothing further to do. So
it's the act and the original form.
Yeah, and it's all actually in the at-one-ment, because it must come from the original beingness. It cannot be divorced. The idea, the correction, is not divorced from the original source. So this is how the at-one-ment is how that source comes into our mind and corrects our mind and heals our mind of all of its false beliefs. And that's what this whole another way of referring to this process. Forgiveness, at-one-ment, salvation, enlightenment, it's all just pointers to the process of correcting the mind and restoring it back to its original state of pure formless awareness.
Okay.
Does that make a bit more sense now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm grasping, but I'm getting. Yeah.
Can you
I
explain
feel like
it
I've
back
got
to
the
me?
outline. I feel like I've got the outline of it.
Okay. Can you explain it back to me?
So you've got your source, your pure, whatever it is. I can never remember the term.
Pure formless awareness, yeah. You'll get
Yeah,
there.
pure formless awareness.
Of perfect love.
So,
that's the full name of God, yeah. Pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's
love.
That's the
and
essence.
then that thought that was the act of separation then creates the act of at-one-ment in a principle that means that there is that separation because that thought has happened. I kind of know you've got this here, then you've got the separation, and then you've got the principle act of that at-one-ment to bring you back to the pure formless awareness, which was already there.
And always has been there. So yeah, you're getting it. It's the action
so
aspect.
To put it into words, yeah, but I can sort of see, I can follow the principle of it.
Follow the principle. Yeah, very good. Okay, so if you want to read the first couple of paragraphs of this.
Okay, today's quote from the ACIM text is a good explanation of what at-one-ment in A Course in Miracle terminology means. The dictionary definition of at-one-ment is the action of making amends for a wrong or injury, and in religious context, it means reparation or expiation for sin.
Yeah.
Expiation.
So sin has happened, and there's some kind of remedy for it, some kind of reparation. So that's the traditional meaning of atonement in the Christian teaching. It's like you've sinned, and now you must atone for your sins by sacrifice, usually. So the idea of Jesus, Yeshua, as the sacrifice for our sins. This is where it comes from. The idea of, yes, we really have sinned. God demands sacrifice, so he sends his only son and he kills him. That really doesn't make any sense in terms of, like, if you really understand what the Course is teaching. Yes, we're saying that's just a complete misinterpretation of what actually happened.
Okay.
So he wasn't sacrificed to pay penance for our sins. He merely decided to demonstrate that in the most extreme situation of crucifixion, where the body's being killed and you seem to be attacked by the world, that actually this thought system of at-one-ment was still true, and that you could maintain it even in that even in those extreme conditions. And so that was really the message of the crucifixion and the resurrection, was that at-one-ment still is, and it doesn't matter what the ego does, you can still decide for truth. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. As he said on the cross. So the whole idea of sin and atonement for sin, he came to do away with. He came to say, look, actually, sin isn't true. Sin isn't real. And you simply have to accept that, and then you're free. Salvation is simply accepting that oneness is still true, and none of these ideas are true. Separation is simply not true. So this isn't what he doesn't mean the traditional idea of sin and then reparation or expiation for sin when he refers to atonement or at-one-ment in the Course. So then you might say, well, what does he mean? So Sally, if you can read the next one from perhaps the best way of explaining it.
Perhaps the best way of explaining it is to spell and ask you to say the word differently out loud, as at-one-ment, with the emphasis on the one, at-one-ment, in the middle of the word, because this pronunciation immediately shows you the alternative of Course in Miracles meaning that describes the process of accepting perfect oneness or love as the true guiding principle of our lives. Shall I carry on?
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. Perfect oneness or love and the idea of sin, which the ego or belief in separation tells you is real, permanent, and deserving of punishment, are incompatible. Any idea of error, let alone one made permanent through the feeling of guilt for it, contradicts the truth of perfect love or oneness entirely. It's amazing, isn't it, that one act has created all that guilt?
Well, one tiny made idea. It was just an idea. to start with. One tiny mad idea of separation, believed in, has led to this craziness. The idea of sin, that it's real, it's permanent, it's deserving of punishment, and it's just an idea. And that's really what Yeshua came to teach us. This is just an idea. It's a crazy, tiny, mad idea, which you don't want, and in fact never really happened. The idea is not true. The idea isn't real. So whatever happened because of the idea is also not true or real. This is the foundation for the undoing of all of it. And the key idea in this teaching, any non-dual teaching, is that you can't have both. You can't accept the idea of separation and sin and guilt and fear and attack and all of its consequences and accept the truth of perfect love or oneness. They contradict each other entirely. So you can't fudge it and try and have both in your mind. You must accept one or the other. And that's why it's so simple. Well, okay, you've got two thought systems completely at odds with each other. They contradict each other. So you must choose which one you believe. And then, by your choice, you will live. Your thoughts, words, and actions will come from that choice. And that will transform everything. One simple idea transforms everything. So look at what the tiny mad idea of separation did. Seemed to create an entire alternate reality, put us into this situation of seemingly being victims of a cruel external world. I mean, talk about the power of an idea, and yet it's not true. So simply by changing our mind and restoring our minds to oneness, all of this will be undone. The entire dream will disappear because it was only the product of an idea that was false. So it's really, really simple, but the difficulty comes in your daily life. You're now looking and experiencing all the effects of separation, all of this stuff described in the diagram. And so you must just remind yourself all the time, okay, none of this really happened. This is just a dream. I'm in a dream right now, and none of it's true, none of it's real, and I can wake up from the dream. And that requires a lot of mind training and vigilance, which is why we're practicing daily. But it's actually very simple in truth. Okay?
I'm going to hop off now, but yes, I've taken that bit of information in. We're going to let that process.
Yeah, great. So welcome aboard, Sue. And you'll get emails from tomorrow morning. I'll send you a little via Telegram. I'll send you. You're on Telegram, are you?
I'm on Telegram.
I'll send you a PDF where you can just apply the instructions to whitelist my email address, so you actually get that, and you'll get the Telegram messages every day, and then just dive in and do what you can in the next 3 weeks. The people who immerse themselves, like Sally, really immersed herself in the first 3 weeks, and she got a huge amount of benefit. If people don't, well, obviously how much time you put in, that's how much benefit you get out. So see what you can do. Join the live sessions as much as you can. Try and practice the breath breaks and the meditations I send you, and just open yourself to a transformational experience in the next 3 weeks, and it'll happen for you.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
See you soon. Join us on Sunday at 8:30 if you can.
8:30 on Sunday. Okay. Thank you.
Have a nice weekend in the meantime.
Yes.
All right. Namaste. Right. So let's carry on. So if this is true.
So if this is true, oneness, love must be eternal, and the idea of separation must be a delusion. This is the simple truth contained in the idea of atonement, as Yeshua teaches it in the A Course in Miracles. Only perfect love, oneness, is true, and everything that seems to arise from the idea of separation is merely an illusion of reality. So if that mad idea hadn't gone on, what would we be doing right now?
We'd just be abiding in pure formless awareness of perfect love.
But presumably we got bored, and that's why we had this random idea to play a game. Don't you think we'll go back and get bored again?
Well, he says that the Holy Spirit will remain forever because it's eternal. So perhaps the awareness of okay, well, you've tried that. Don't go there again. You thought it would be exciting, but actually it led to a huge amount of problems and pain and suffering and sickness and death. Don't go there. You don't want to do that anymore. So having had this experience, hopefully we choose to, just to remain in perfect oneness forever, because that idea it's just not a good idea. You tried that one. It's not a good idea. You experienced the effects of it. And so maybe that's what he means by the Holy Spirit will remain in eternity to bless God's creations and keep them safe. That's something like that, if I recall, in the Course. He says, so that awareness that, okay, this is not a good idea because we've tried it, maybe will keep us safe and go, no, just don't go. Just don't go there. Just stay in pure formless awareness. Stay here, because this is not exciting. It's not fun. You've been there and done that, and it really, it's not something you want. So who knows? All we can do is correct our mind, take it back here, and trust that that's all we have to do, and we'll remain in pure formless awareness for all eternity once we've done that, because that's God's will. And it's your choice. I mean, only your choice can take you out of it. So you've corrected your mind and you let it all go, and like, why would you choose to come back? I mean, this wouldn't make any sense. There would be probably still an awareness in your mind, like, okay, no, that's just not something I want. I don't want to believe in this thought system, because look at its horrific consequences. Look at it. When you lay it out like this, it's like, oh my God, this is terrible, awful. When we had the tiny mad idea and believed in it, we didn't know what would happen. It was all new to us, so we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. But now we do know, and we don't. You're making the choice here very clearly, not that you don't want this. That's the correction of the mind. So I hope that answers your question. And there's no absolute answer to that. We don't know, but
I'm just thinking, like, in years, studying this stuff, and then find out all this was an illusion, and actually, there's some other illusion going on that we just join after this one.
Well, if you want to maintain illusions, but I think intuitively, I get intuitively, like, okay, there is an absolute beingness. There is an absolute source to all of this, beyond all illusion, and that's what we're being asked to become at one with again. And that illusions can only come into your mind if you allow them. There's another illusion. Well, that's only if you want it to be there. It's entirely within your power to let all illusions go, correct your mind entirely, and simply be at one with your source. And that's really what he's pointing us to, saying, don't get delayed by anything else, whether it's on the level of form, it's corporeal, or it's incorporeal. Just don't allow it.
Yeah, that's fair.
You want only perfect, pure formless awareness of perfect love, and that experience only, and that is the highest truth. And every spiritual teaching is pointing to that truth. In the end, it comes down to that non-dual truth. And the highest teachings on the planet, all the mystics and sages have taught this. They've said there is this one truth. This is the end point of your spiritual journey. You get to the awareness that there's just this pure formless awareness of perfect love and nothing else. And that's the end, and it's the end of all other states of mind, which are illusions. It replaces them all. Okay. Carry on.
Because it just describes both the process of spiritual growth and the final outcome of this process. At-one-ment is synonymous with the words salvation and enlightenment, which also refer to both this ultimate goal and the means of attaining it. Keeping both the final destination and the process of getting there in mind is essential on the journey back home to heaven. So the idea of at-one-ment can be a very helpful one to you, if you remind yourself of its true meaning in any situation in which you are tempted to make an error into sin, to make the illusion real in your mind and use it to help you deny the existence of the error, and therefore the specific sin and the entire world of apparent sin instead.
Probably needs a full stop in there somewhere. But anyway, so
what that occurred to me is why I hesitated, because I was like, oh, so you meant to emphasize the one, so it's at one. I'm not used to doing that, so I was like translating it in my head, thinking, yeah, that's difficult to get into the habit of. If you've always said at one moment, and then you've got to say at one,
yeah,
different feeling.
Yeah, so that's what I'm asking you to do. Just play with it. See what different experience it gives you. So if you just remind yourself, well, only oneness is true in every situation. In this situation, doesn't matter what's being shown to me, doesn't matter what the effects of separation seem to be, oneness is still true. Then you deny the existence of the error. And therefore the specific sin that seems to be cropping up, okay, the error that's being shown to you in your experience in that moment. But when you deny the specific sins, you also deny the entire world of apparent sin. If you keep doing that, you generalize the lesson. You say, well, it's all illusion. There is no error. There is no sin. Sin is just error made real. Error made permanent and real in our perception. But if there's not even error, this is where we're going. There's not even an error. There was never an idea of separation. And there's no sin. And there's nothing to atone for. And although you might be experiencing the seeming effects of that error, you just deny it. In the same way you denied, that your son had anything wrong with him. It's like there's no error. And that was very powerfully effective, because you're going to the truth then. You're saying there is no error. You're going to the underlying truth of everything that underlies the entire universe of form, and saying, this is the truth, and I will hold to that truth no matter what in every situation. That's what the Atonement's asking you to do.
So it seems to me that as a human, sometimes it's quite difficult to change your thinking, but I've had those occasions like that when grace comes in, or whatever you want to call it, and it gives you a power and energy behind it of total surety. And sometimes it's just a moment of grace, isn't it, that these things happen? Mind you,
I don't know if you listened to the recording of yesterday evening session, but it's a good one, because we talked about this exact thing. He talks about, by grace, you're given the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of oneness, so that in your darkest hour, there's still that memory that you can call upon to help you. And that little change of mind is the start of your journey. And then, you continue. The more you listen to the Holy Spirit, the more these moments of grace get given to you. And eventually the final grace is, God's pure formless awareness takes the final step, and you just merge back into it. But the start is grace, because the remembrance is there for you. Even though you've done your best to forget it, and you've denied it, so comprehensively, it's still there. That's grace. It's still there in your darkest hour, so you can find it at any point. And often you need to go to the darkest hour, to that place of real desperation, before you'll look for it. Go, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. Help. And that's when it's there. So it's never gone away. You just have to be ready to listen to it. And then the final act of grace is, well, you do all this mind training work, and you're training your mind to correct your perception, but finally you just merge into the oneness. It's like it's just given to you, and you merge back in, and the entire dream is over, and the universe of time and space disappears. That's also grace. You don't have to do that. That God will take the final step, he says. So the first step is given by grace. The last step is given by grace. In between, you need to be consciously choosing the Atonement. So that's your work. But along the way, you get guidance and assistance. If you're really serious about this, you'll get a lot of guidance and assistance, because this Atonement principle starts to work for you. It says, oh, okay, so you're listening finally. All right, well, let's give you some assistance. And that works in this miraculous way we don't really understand, via the quantum field, and because your mind is part of the one, no one can really explain exactly how it works, but it does work, and that's all you need to know. It does work, and there's this at-one-ment process that's really going to help you and guide you and give you the support you need to overcome the seeming block of the ego and actually free your mind entirely. So hopefully that gives you a bit more understanding of at-one-ment and prepares you well for today's lesson. So shall we dive into that?
Yeah, I'm only on here until 5 to 4, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. So we'll see how much we can get done. All right, you want to read? Let's just read the translation straight away.
Here is the end of choice, for here we come to a decision to accept ourselves as pure, formless awareness of perfect love created us. And what is choice except uncertainty of what we are? Oh yeah, created. Extended?
Yeah.
Us. What is choice except uncertainty of what we are? There is no doubt that it's not rooted here. There is no question but reflects this one. There is no conflict that does not entail the single simple question, what am I? There is
no question that does not, let's make it that does not reflect. No conflict that does not entail the single simple question, what am I?
Mm.
So it's just framing it for us quite nicely and saying this idea of at-one-ment is the end of choice. So you're actually what you're trying to do is collapse the idea of choice. So in the end, there is no choice. Oneness is oneness, truth is truth. There's no choice to accept it or not, because that's all that really exists. And this apparent choice that we have is saying is the uncertainty of what we are. We wouldn't have the idea of choice and having to decide between two apparent opposites if we weren't uncertain about who we are. So there's no question that doesn't reflect this one. There's no conflict we can experience that doesn't entail the single simple question, what am I? Am I pure formless awareness of perfect love, or am I a separated individual self that has my own free will, quite free will, to choose and to therefore make mistakes, get it all wrong?
Mm.
So it comes down in the end. What he's saying, this comes down to your self-concept, which is why all the ancient teachings say know thyself. This is what it comes down to. Who are you? That's the fundamental question.
It's quite shocking, really, isn't it, that we don't know who we are? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Mm.
Like, how can you be alive, as he points out, and not know this? You could ask this question, except one has refused to recognize himself. Okay, well, clearly you must be deluded to even ask the question. Why are you asking who you are if you know who you are?
Mm.
Only refusal to accept yourself could make the question seem to be sincere. So the question implies that you've already denied who you are, and now you're wondering what you are. So that's why questioning ultimately has to go. As you keep questioning, you keep making the illusion of uncertainty real, the illusion of choice real. Who am I? Why did this happen? How did the separation happen? These are all the same question. In the end, the question boils down to, what am I? Who am I? This is what he's saying.
Mm.
If you answer that question, then all other questions are answered with that. So one problem, we don't know who we are. One solution, accept who you are in truth. And the only thing that can be surely known by any living thing is what it is. From this one point of certainty, it looks on other things as certain as itself. Okay, but I mean, what he's pointing out is true. Surely, if you're alive, you have life, surely you would know what you are. And yet we don't. I don't think that needs any translation, actually. It's fine as it is. So number 3.
Uncertainty about what you must be is self-deception on a scale so vast its magnitude can hardly be conceived. To be alive and not know yourself is to believe that you are already dead. That always gets me. That's quite a harsh statement. For what is life except to be yourself? And what but you can be alive instead? But you can be alive instead. Who is the doubter? What is it he doubts? Whom does he question? Who can answer him?
Just one little translation there. What except you can be alive instead? He's just pointing out this is self-deception on a scale so vast that its magnitude, putting it that day, can hardly be conceived. I mean, we can't even get our head around, like, how can you deny who you are and still be alive? How's that even possible?
Yeah, what was going through my head is like the ugly duckling story about how the ugly duckling looked about it and saw swans, was it? And thought it was a swan or something. And it's like, do animals, they're the same as us. They can't see themselves really. They don't really know the bigger picture, although they're a bit more tuned in. It's just interesting because you can't see yourself. I mean, on a human level, you never see yourself, do you? You don't see your own face unless you look in a mirror. So it's all very elusive, really, isn't it? I mean, you don't get born and be told all this stuff. So
no, because the world is a covering over this. The world was made as a self-deception to convince you that you are something that you're not, to convince you that you are separate, you have a separate identity, that you're a body, that you can suffer, that you can die. The world was made to convince you of that. It wasn't made to convince you of the truth. It needs a reinterpretation of the illusion to convince you of that. So it's a veil of illusion, self-deception on a vast scale. The world, the whole cosmos, is a projection of your false self-concept. It's a projection of your self-deception. I mean, that's just like, you start to try and wrap your head around that. It's mind-blowing what we've done.
Is that what the veil is when people talk about the veil?
Yes, the veil of illusion, yeah. We have projected all of this out to convince ourselves that our false self-concept is real, to justify and perpetuate that self-concept. So everything that we see and experience in this world is designed by the ego to perpetuate the idea, yes, you are a separate self, don't forget it, you have a separate identity, and you're not one. And that pure formless awareness of perfect love is denied. And your experience in this world keeps telling you, yeah, this is the case, you are separate. And yet it's all based on a false idea that you're a separate self. So the entire thing is a veil of illusion designed to cover over the truth of pure formless awareness. When I had my little mystic experience just over a year ago, it was so clear to me that that's exactly what I'd done. That the world just was a justification for all of these crazy thoughts and beliefs and emotions that I'd had in my life. Anything, crazy, anything that hurt me, it was all part of this illusion. And the world was just a projection of the mind to convince me that these thoughts and emotions were real, that the separate self was real. And it just like it all dropped. It's just like, yeah, I get it. I understood why they call it a veil of illusion. It comes down to the self-concept. Who do you believe you are? And that pure formless awareness of perfect love is who you really are. But that's just been covered over by the veil. And now we've forgotten that. We've lost it, seemingly lost it. And the spiritual awakening is just returning our mind to that awareness through all the clutter and all the veil of illusion that the ego's tried to literally pull the wool over your eyes, pull the veil over your eyes. It's still there. That awareness is still there, and you can experience it again. You can make that your own experience once again, but with a lot of mind training. That's why he's giving us these these lessons, to train our minds to go, yeah, okay, I'm starting to understand intellectually at first, conceptually, but that can lead to the experience of it. When you experience it, you go, okay, I know the truth now. I know that this must be true, because that experience completely contradicts the world. It tells me there's another reality. So I can't really accept both anymore. I must choose. At-one-ment is the choice for the other reality that seems to be hidden. So number 4.
We're on 139.
Oh, hang on, sorry. I've got the wrong version control there. He merely states, here we go. So he merely states that he's not himself.
He merely states that he's not himself, and therefore being something else becomes a questioner of what that something is. Yet he could never be alive at all unless he knew the answer. If he asks as if he does not know, it merely shows he does not want to be the thing he is. He has accepted it because he lives, has judged against it and denied its worth, and has decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he lives.
Okay, so he's just kind of laying it out for us and saying, does it need, I'm not sure it does it need any translation? Accepted it because he loves. I don't know. I wasn't reading this. I was like, he's accepted it because he loves. It's the only thing that stood out to me. If he asks as if he does not know, it really shows he does not want to be the thing he is. Okay, so that's pretty clear. He has accepted it because he lives. The thing he is. He has accepted it because he lives. But has judged against it. So there's a contradiction right there. And denied its worth. So I think I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, well, because we're alive, we must have accepted it. So instead of, so he must, how about that? He must have accepted it. At some point, because he lives. I think this is what he's saying, but now has judged against it and denied its worth. Has judged against it, denied its worth, and decided he does not know the only certainty by which he lives. Okay, happy with that last sentence? I think that kind of clarifies it. He must have accepted it at some point because he loves. So we've received it. What he's saying is, at some point we did know this. He must have, maybe instead of accepted it, he must have known it. He must have known. Who he really was at some point. I think that's better. He must have known who he really was at some point because he lives. Otherwise we couldn't have life. But now he has judged against it, denied its worth, and decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he lives. Okay, happy with that?
When it says because he lives, you mean living in what sense?
Well, that's exactly the question. What is life? The only certainty by which he, so instead of lives, maybe we could, because he exists, really at some point, because he
Yeah, that's better, isn't it?
has awareness, or he is aware,
Mm.
because he has awareness, because that's really what we're talking about, fundamental awareness. Does
Mm.
not know the only certainty by which he lives, by which he he is aware at all, by which he exists at all, maybe, by which he exists, something like that.
Shall I read it back? He must have known he really was at some point because he has awareness, but now he is judged against it, denied its worth, and decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he exists at all. Yeah. That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, decided he does not know the only certainty by which he exists at all, or just exists, by which he exists.
At all, I think.
Likely at all.
Hmm.
She exists at all. Yeah, I think that's a bit clearer, because that he's accepted it because he lives, and then has judged against it. He doesn't really. There's a bit of a gap there to what he actually means. But I think this is what he means. He must have known who he really was at some point, because he has awareness. So, he's alive, but it's awareness beyond. It's not the life of the body, because he lives. It's actually fundamental awareness, because he has awareness, or he is aware, has awareness. Yeah. Well, I think we'll leave it as awareness. Now he is judged against. Because he has now is judged against. This awareness denied its worth, and decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he is aware at all, by which he is aware of anything. How about that? So just playing with ideas, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's lost me a little bit. I liked it, the one before, version before.
By which he exists at all.
Exists at all. Yeah. Yeah.
It's clearer. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Otherwise, you've got so many awarenesses and it's a bit confusing.
Must have known who he really is because he has awareness. Okay, so he has awareness, but now he's judged against this awareness. That's pure formless awareness of perfect love that he's judged against, denied its worth, and decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he exists at all, by which he has awareness at all. But we'll just leave it as exists. Happy with that?
Yeah. Yeah, that helped a lot, actually.
So that's the idea of the translation, really. Okay, so let's copy that. Number 5. As he becomes uncertain of his life.
Thus he becomes uncertain of his life, for what it is has been denied by him. It is for this denial that you need Atonement. Your denial made no change in what you are, but you have split your mind into what knows and what does not know the truth. You are yourself. There is no doubt of this, and yet you doubt it. You do not ask what part of you can really doubt yourself. It cannot really be a part of you that asks this question, for it asks of one who knows the answer. Were it part of you, then certainty would be impossible. Were it part of you, then certainty would be impossible. Yeah, okay. All right.
So if this questioner, the doubter, was really true, then you would forever be uncertain, because it would be real. The question and the doubter would be real, and the uncertainty would remain. Certainty would be impossible.
It's a mind twister and a half.
No. They cannot. What he's saying is this doubt, this thought. Really, it's a thought of separation that leads to all the doubts about who we are and what reality is. It's not real. So it's actually asking of one who knows the answer. You actually know the answer, and this doubt, this thought that causes you to question and doubt, is not really a part of you. So this mind that seemingly, has these thoughts of doubt and is wondering what it is not true. It's a complete illusion. So were it a part of you, then certainty would be impossible. Were it really, let's just translate down here. So were it really part of you, and certainty would be impossible. So this ego, this belief in separation, is just a false thought. That's all he's saying. It's a false idea that's now been made into a self-concept, projected out of your mind, created an entire illusion of a reality, but it is not part of your mind. It's a complete figment of your imagination. It's actually nowhere. The idea and everything that comes from the idea actually doesn't exist. It's nowhere and it's nothing. And so you're living in an idea of nothing, and seemingly making nothing into a reality and some real experience. But the idea is nothing, and you actually do know the answer, because underneath all of this is the pure formless awareness of perfect love that you have always been, the foundational awareness that you have always been, you will always be, and that remains. So just clear away all of the falsity, recognize these false ideas for what they are, and what remains must be that pure formless awareness. And that is the Atonement process when you restore your mind to it. Okay, makes sense. Do you want to summarize number 5?
It's believing that you need Atonement when you already are Atonement. And
I'm just going to change that into active tense while you carry on for years.
The part that knows, knows, and the part that doesn't know, doesn't know. And it's asking but doesn't want to know. For if it asks of the one that knows the answer. Still confusing in my head. Were it really part of you, then certainty would be impossible. If it was really part of you, then yeah, all right, yeah. This is written in such a way that really moves my brain. It's rewiring it, isn't it?
Well, that is part of the, it's part of the whole thing. The process, that the way he writes it, it's like it really causes you to think quite deeply. Okay, so what is he actually saying here?
Yeah, no, it's a funny sensation, isn't it, when your brain is when your mind.
Well, I'll tell you what's happening. Why you experience it as brain is because on the physical level there are neural pathways in your brain being reconnected. We know as we're thinking, you think in different ways, you're actually rewiring. The circuitry in your brain is actually being rewired. So you go, oh, that's actually the stuff happening in the brain to rewire. And then you go, whoa, like if there's a lot of that rewiring that's taken place, you kind of feel a bit mind blown. It's like, whoa, because all this rewiring and repatterning is happening. But it's your mind. So this is the interesting thing. Your mind is doing it. It's not the brain that's doing it. Your mind is doing it, and then the mind, because the mind controls the brain and the body, the mind is now rewiring. But just the changing of your ideas rewires the circuitry, so that now the brain looks and works differently, and so that repatterns your kind of hardware, so to speak, so that it runs the software better. If you know what I mean, it's like the integration of mind and body, but the mind is always in charge. It's not the body that's in charge. It's not the brain that's in charge. It's the mind.
Yeah,
which is pretty profound. So you change your mind, you can change your body and anything in your body. You can you rewire your brain. You can change your body's biochemistry. You can heal from life like Anita Mojani, like just totally rewired everything. That amount of change, extraordinary change in the body on the level of form happened because she'd had a fundamental change of mind. And that now then had to repattern the body so that it aligned with the new self-concept. So this is what we're doing here. It's profound stuff.
Yeah.
Your entire system, your body, mind, it's all being rewired and repatterned. And then if you experience changes on the physical level, it's because the mind does control the body.
Yeah, sure, get it. Anyway, I've got to go. So thank you very much.
Okay, sorry we couldn't finish it, but I've got another 10-20 minutes, so I'll try and finish this and send out the recording.
Okay.
I've done that.
All right, I'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Yeah, great. Have a nice weekend. Okay, so I'm just going to try and finish this quickly. Complete the translation. So Atonement remedies the strange idea that it is possible to doubt yourself and be unsure of what you really are. This is the depth of madness. Yet it is the universal question of the world. What does this mean except the world is mad? Why share its madness in the sad belief that what is universal here is true? I think that needs any translation actually. So he's just asking us to look at this madness. The idea that we don't know who we are and deny it. And see that this is the universal question of the world, and what can this mean except the world is mad? So don't share its madness in the sad belief that what is universal here is true. So just because everyone believes it doesn't mean that it's true. It means everyone's delusional and confused and insane, and the people who question the insane paradigm are then seen as the mad ones and the insane ones. Or what would you expect in an upside down world? Except that the people who are really sane are called mad, because if they were called sane, then the insane ones would have to recognize that they are insane and change their minds, and they don't want to do that. So nothing the world believes is true. It is a place whose purpose is to be a home where those who claim they do not know themselves can come to question what it is they are. And they will come again until the time Atonement is accepted and they learn it is impossible to doubt yourself and not to be aware of what you are. So we come here to question until we decide we want to let go of the questioning, until we accept the Atonement. So in the end, this is an acceptance. You can question and you can ask questions forever and say, well, who am I and why did this separation happen? How could this have happened? But these questions all make the false self that's questioning real. So that's the delusion we're in. And the only way out of that is to accept, finally, that Atonement, accept that I am as God created me. I am as this pure formless awareness of perfect love created me, extended me, and nothing else is true and nothing else is real. And then our minds are healed, we cease to question, and we accept who we really are. That state of acceptance is called knowledge. So only acceptance can be asked of you, for what you are is certain. And it is set forever in the holy mind of God, the holy mind of pure formless awareness, of perfect love. Let's make that just perfect love, the holy mind of perfect love, and in your own. It is so far beyond all doubt and question that to ask what it must be is all the proof you need to show that you believe the contradiction, that you know not, that you do not know what you cannot fail to know. It's a bit of a brain teaser here, but it's so far beyond all doubt. To ask what it is, what it must be, it's all the proof you need to show that you believe the contradiction, that you do not know what you cannot fail to know. So we believe that we don't know ourselves, but you actually cannot fail to know it because it's your true reality, your true identity. So is this really a question? Says Yeshua. Is this really a question or a statement which denies itself in statement? And let us not allow our holy minds, our true awareness, shall we say, let us not allow our true awareness to occupy itself with senseless musings such as this. As we just see that it's all contradictory and actually doesn't make any sense. In truth. Okay. So we have a mission here. We not come to reinforce the madness that we once believed in. Let us not forget the goal that we accepted. There's more than just our happiness alone we come to gain. We came to gain. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be, along with us. Do not fail your brothers, or you fail yourself. Look lovingly on them, so that they may know that they are part of you and you of them. I'm going to change that to first person. You have a mission here. You did not come. You have a mission in this world. Not come to reinforce the madness that you once believed in. Do not forget the goal that you accepted. It's more than just your happiness alone. You came to gain. What you accept is what you are. Proclaims what everyone must be along with you. Do not fail your companions. Do not fail your companions, or you fail yourself. Look lovingly on them, so they may know that they are part of you. They are part of you, and you of them. So our mission is to accept who we are and to extend this to all of our companions and help them to learn the same truth about themselves. This does Atonement teach. This does Atonement teach and demonstrates the oneness of God's Son is unassailed by his belief. He knows not what he is. Let's translate that. So this does Atonement teach. This Atonement teaches. Atonement teaches this. Atonement teaches only this. Demonstrates the oneness of perfect love's extension. He's unassailed by his belief that he does not know what he is. Today, accept Atonement, not to change reality, but merely to accept the truth about yourself and go your way rejoicing in this love. In the endless, pure, formless awareness of perfect love. It is only this that you are asked to do. You're asked to do only this. And it is only this that you will do today. To do only this. Only this that you will do today. Okay, so he's just call to action, call to arms, saying just make this choice, do only this today. And then we go into the practice. So, 5 minutes in the morning and at night, devote to dedicate our minds to our assignment for today. Move that around. We'll devote a night to dedicate our minds to our assignment for today. Start with this review of what our mission is. I accepted one-man for myself, for I remain as God created me. I remain as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended me. I've not lost the knowledge that pure formless awareness of perfect love gave to us when it extended us like itself. You can remember it for everyone. You have not lost the knowledge, and you can remember it. For in beingness are all minds as one, and in your memory is the recall, is the recollection of how dear your brothers are, companions are. To you in truth, how much a part of you is every mind, how faithful they've really been to you, and how your perfect love contains them all. So just a lovely sense there really for who we really are. Reminder, our source's love contains them all, right? Okay. That's just your source's love contains them all. And the last paragraph. And thanks for all beingness, in the name of its source and its oneness with all aspects of beingness. Repeat our dedication to our cause today, each hour. We will repeat. Repeat your dedication to your cause today, each hour. as you lay aside all thoughts that would distract you from your holy aim. For several minutes, let your mind be cleared of all the foolish cobwebs which the world wants to weave around the Holy Sun, the holy extension. Of perfect love, and learn the fragile nature of the chains, called chains, limited beliefs. The limited beliefs that seem to keep the knowledge of yourself apart from your awareness. Let's make that out of your awareness. As you say, I would accept Atonement for myself, for I remain as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended me. Really lovely. So practice that regularly. If you're in the program, I've sent you a short 5-minute breath break to help you to practice that for the rest of the afternoon and evening. And that should keep you in the state of Atonement with your source, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it brings us to the end of the session. So thanks very much for listening. If you've tuned in, if you're listening to the recording, and I hope to see you again. Our next live session is happening on Sunday evening, 8:30 p.m. UK time, 9:30 p.m. South African time. So hope to see you then, and have a lovely afternoon, evening in the meantime. Namaste.